Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday. So, guys, every Friday, 9 o'clock, we're here to mastermind with the mortgage coach community. I want to remind everybody from last week's conversation that we're putting more and more focus on this show of streaming it live into our Facebook group. So if you are watching this on YouTube, it's live in the Mortgage Coach Mastermind. If you're on Zoom, we haven't decided yet if we're going to not let people watch it on Zoom and only use Zoom for moderators and leaders. But best place to watch this show is in our Facebook group. And during the call, that's where we're going to be looking for questions. So if you have a question, if you have a takeaway, if you just have something to share, post that in Facebook Live. Also, we've got a few more shows that we're going to start pushing into the Facebook Live event. So I don't want to steal your thunder. We'll announce that next week. We've got some amazing leaders in the industry that are going to create some amazing content and just make the Mortgage Coach Productivity Mastermind group a more valuable place for you guys to spend time and attention. So, Michelle, I do want you to interrupt me. I want to have as much conversation around this as you want to have. But I will tell everybody I am doing a keynote multiple times over the next month called The Art and Science of Winning Presentations in the Digital Shift Age. So think of this two ways. One, I'm practicing a little bit on what I'm going to be doing because this is not a presentation I've given, although I've given parts of it. And then two, I want to improve it. I want to crush it so that there's a great mortgage coach conversation. There's a playbook on how to create winning presentations in the digital age. So that's what this call is about. That is the focus for the next 55 minutes. Before I kick that off, I want to give a little bit of backstory on the research of this and just my passion for the art and science of just killer presentations. A lot of people don't know it, but the name of the company that's called Mortgage Coach isn't Mortgage Coach. The name of the company that's called Mortgage Coach is Wow Tools, Inc. So if you Google Wow Tools, Inc., that is the original founding vision behind Mortgage Coach. And really that all happened, like when I search back, like what is my why? It's to wow people. It's to surpass the expectations of my clients, my friends, my family, everybody around me. And that was when I, founded Mortgage Coach with Greg Wexler, 21 years ago. It was, I wanted to wow every borrower at the point of sale. So they're just like, wow, I never thought of my mortgage like that. Wow, no loan officer has ever shown me, options like that. Wow, I never knew a loan cost that much over 5 years. It was Wow Tools. And then, we decided to take it to market as Mortgage Coach. By the way, Michelle, did you know that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know that. Now you know it. Mortgage Coach is really Wow Tools. Now, when it comes to the art and science of presentations, I've had some mentors in my life. I've had some experiences in my life that, have reshaped me forever. So this picture right here was probably, if it wasn't the most impactful personal development experience in my life, it was certainly one of them. And it's where I did an invite-only presentation mastermind one day. It was at a hotel in Laguna Beach. We rented the rooftop of the Camino del Caso hotel. And I had the guy in the middle, Roberto Monaco, who was my speaker coach. At the time, I was trying to refine how I show up on stage. And we hired Roberto. I think I charged everybody, I can't remember if it was $1,000 or $2,000, invite only, and we spent a day with Roberto. And this was our little celebration at the end of the event. So I just want to make sure when I give this presentation, I give credit to Roberto. If anybody wants to learn more about Roberto, go to his website, influencology.com. And again, he is a mentor of mine. And when I talk about the art and science of presentations, wouldn't be doing justice if I didn't, talk about Roberto. By the way, Michelle, do you know Roberto? Have you ever checked out any of his content?
He was actually one of our keynote speakers when I was at RPM. He's phenomenal, and I was going to do one of his classes, but unfortunately I wasn't able to make it. But his energy is invigorating.
Yeah, no, his passion,
And
which it is so contagious, which I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that today, but you know, how you show up on stage, how you show up in a presentation is a massively important to the success you'll have. Another couple books I have read, just, you know, countless books, gone to countless educational experiences on giving presentations. The two in the middle, Slideology and Resonate, were written by Nancy Duarte. I've done, like, you know, multiple day workshops with Nancy Duarte. I hired her to create one of my keynotes, you know, 10 plus years ago. I would just say another, you know, mentor of mine when it comes to building presentations, when it comes to creating presentations. So some of the concepts are going to come from that. And then a lot of the concepts in today's presentation are going to come from these two books and my interview with Carmine Gallo. I interviewed him in the Mortgage Coach community. You guys can check out the interview I did. He wrote and authored the book called The Presentation Secrets of Steve Jobs. And he wrote a book called Talk Like TED. And I think that the thing why I think that's so important is that, first of all, TED Talks are watched over 2 million times a day. They've been watched billions of times at this point. And if you want to improve your presentations, watch some of the best TED Talks and think about, you know, what you're doing and how you're doing it. But this quote, like if you read the book Talk Like TED, it starts off with this, you know, this quote: ideas are the currency of the 21st century. Some people are exceptionally good at presenting their ideas. The skills elevate their stature, influence in today's society. And there's nothing more inspiring than a bold idea delivered by a great speaker. Ideas effectively packaged and delivered can change the world. And here's the deal. You guys, everyone on this call, you're a mortgage professional. And at the end of the day, you have ideas. You want, if you're meeting with a realtor, you want your ideas to blow their mind. You know, if you're meeting with a borrower, you want your ideas to blow their mind. So I think there's a lot that could be learned from TED Talks. And remember, guys, if you want to listen to the interview that I did with Carmine Gallo, it was, I think, like 4 years ago. So it was a few years ago. Check it out. I'll put a link down below. If anyone on the Mortgage Coach team knows where this link is, let's put it in chat right away. Michelle, I doubt whether you watched this interview. It was like 4 or 5 years ago, but just in case you have watched it or you have any insight around this, I wanted to call you out real quick.
Yeah, I have not. I actually am. If you see my notes right now, I've taken a lot of notes because I haven't read any of those books you had on your thing. And one of the things I do want to get a little bit better at this year is my presentations. I'm great on the phone, but I'm not great with my tech part of my presentations at all.
Good. Well, let's try to talk about that. Like, let's get to that in about 10, 15 minutes. So I think it's important, before I get into specific tactics and strategies and key principles around presentations, we talk about this digital shift. And for those of you that come to a lot of our calls and you've heard this, it's a repeat, so sorry. For those of you that haven't heard it, I think it's an important foundation, because presentations aren't what they were 10 years ago. If you're a mortgage professional, the world has changed, and the digital shift is what's changed. And the digital shift is really simple. Realtors used to have all the power, and today the consumer has all the power. And that all that power happened because in 2007, Steve Jobs rolled out the iPhone and just gave us all this power in our phone. And in the mortgage business, let's face it, if you're in the real estate business, Zillow changed the game when they put the MLS in the palm of your hand. And now, as of 2018, they own a mortgage company. So does Redfin. And I think this is important when you're giving presentations. And I'll get to that in about 10 minutes. But I think it's important in today's world. And if you listen to the interview I did with Carmine Gallo, he talks about this concept of multi-sensory experiences. You know, like if your goal is to wow someone, if your goal is to be respected and be trusted, you need to deliver a different type of presentation. And to your point, Michelle, like the technology part of that presentation, if you want to have the best possible presentation, you do need to have a great, you know, human touch, You need to have amazing passion. You need to be an expert. But in today's world, you also need to leverage technology. So as we kind of flash forward to today, last year, Keller Williams got in the mortgage business. At the beginning of last year, these were our channels of competition if you're a referral-based mortgage professional. And by Q3 of 2018, as of 2019, and it really hasn't changed, the competitive landscape for a referral-based mortgage professional has absolutely changed, and it's changed forever. You have more competition than you ever had, and you have competitors that are leveraging technology better than they ever have before. So it's super important that you as a referral-based mortgage professional, when it comes to giving killer presentations, it's high touch, it's high tech. All right, so a couple more key concepts, and then we'll get into specific presentation concepts within 5 minutes. One, rate shopping, and I've said it and I'll say it over. It's not a question of if you get rate shopped. You just have to assume everybody's rate shopping you. And it's the question as, do they grind you? Can you create so much value that they're just like, I could get a rate for a quarter higher, an eighth higher, 3/8 higher, but you know what? Michelle's amazing. I'm going to do my loan with her. Or does that person show up after you've gone through 2 homes, you've, approved their loan, they finally have their 3rd home in escrow, and it's like, it's time to grind. So they're shopping you. The question is, do they grind you? And the quality of your presentation does matter. Michelle, any comments on that?
For sure. But I have clients that have been mine for years, and that still pops up, and you can hear it. You can hear the hesitation in the voice of them to want to even bring it up. And it's taken me a long time to be able to encourage them to bring it up. Because I want them to bring everything out to the forefront. So if they're worried about, hey, so I'll give a live example of what happened this week. I had a gentleman who originally he wasn't going to sell his home. And so he had to go 10% down, bridge his funds. And that deal fell out. And now his home is actually in escrow. He's selling. So now he fits into that beautiful box that everybody loves. And he reached out to me and says, I really hate to do this, but I was approached by Bank of America or Chase or Wells. I'm not going to point out any particular one. And they told me what I could get. I really need to, we're really getting the big, the right thing for our family. And so, I actually hopped on the phone immediately and just said, explained to him what was happening with the big banks, that the depositories are, 100% what they're going after right now. They don't make any money on the mortgages. I said, let me see what I can do. I said, I agree with you. I said, if we're a half-point differential, I want you to go with them because you do fit in their box. But if we do, let me give you my person over at this particular bank because I know you'll be taken care of. I have had great relationships with them. But what I was able to do, I worked with my investor, I worked with myself, and what we did, because this is a great client of mine, normally I won't reduce commissions, but for this particular one, I said, you know what? I don't want to lose him as a client. I reduced my commission. I got within an 1/8% of what they were offering. They still were beating me by $6,000 and an 8%, and he chose to stay with us because he says, you've earned my family's trust because you went ahead, you went above and beyond to go try to make this work. Don't be afraid to let your clients talk to you about it. Don't shut them down when they start saying it. Don't say, well, that's bankrate.com and that guy's, they don't know what they're doing. Let them speak their mind, listen, that big L word for me is listen, and then address their concerns and see if they're still my client. Does that help?
Love it,
Dave?
It does. And if someone on the mortgage coach team could put the Jason Nutzman interview down below, Jason talked about strategy and scripting with a client that had he was competing with an online lender. They had 0.3% higher, and he walks you through the strategy, the scripting, to where he actually didn't have to lower the rate because he used the total cost analysis. He showed him that the difference between 3/8 in this particular case over 5 years was only $2,800. And he said, between the relationship he had established, the presentation he had given, it was like, am I worth $2,800 over 5 years? And they said yes. And when you listen to that interview with Jason, it says, hey, when it starts getting over $5,000 over 5 years, I start I have to negotiate, but I'm making less of an exception. So presentation matters when it comes to reducing rate shopping and winning with rate shopping. So the other key concept, and I'm going to get to presentation concepts in just a minute, is that there's just a battle being waged on the mobile phone. And I believe that as a mortgage professional of the future, the loan officer with the most digital friends wins, period. So you've got to have a mobile strategy, and I'll talk about how that can be integrated into your presentations. Whether you're on a stage talking to 100 or whether you're talking to 1 or 2, you've got to embrace technology. There is a war being waged for attention and trust. These are the 4 biggest brands in the mortgage and real estate space. But I think as a mortgage professional, when you really look at the war being waged, these are the channels where attention and trust is being built. And regardless of your presentation, now in this particular conversation, I'm going to cover presentations in Facebook and YouTube, so videos in those 2. But I mean, I really think even when you're meeting with someone, how you showed up before pre-meeting, how you show up during meeting, how you reference stories and strategies throughout your entire social channel matters. So again, I'm going to fly through this real quick because anybody that listens to me talk, you know this acronym by now, WACD, what Amazon and Zillow can't do. You need to think of that with your presentations. And in today's market, WAZD. You absolutely need to think of what Amazon and Zillow can't do. That's what I need to do. So I want to get into art and science and key principles for every presentation you give. Whether this is a one-to-one borrower conversation, one-to-one realtor conversation, or it's a one-to-many, many of these concepts hold true. And let's talk about. And Michelle, if you could keep an eye on chat in our Facebook group, if people have questions or they want to call something out, please interrupt me and bring that in. So principle number 1, mortgage pro with the most digital friends wins. So everyone you connect with, you want to make them a digital friend. That means you get them to connect with you on social, you connect with them on social, and if you have apps, you use it as an opportunity to get them to download your app. I was talking to our president, Joe Patur, who's going to speak on stage later today in Orlando to 100 loan officers, and he'll have built into his presentation a point where he asks folks to pull out their mobile phone, and he gets them to engage and connect with their mobile. And so I do believe we live in a world now today where if the Titanic was sinking, this is what it would look like. People would either be taking pictures of it or taking pictures of themselves. So presentation concept number 1, every presentation you're giving, how are you using technology? How are you using mobile? Because this is another principle and a quote that I have talked about over and over and over. Disruptors and technology companies aren't going to replace local loan officers, but the local realtors and loan officers who master both technology and social media will absolutely take market from those who don't. So embrace that concept, audit your presentations, and leverage those technologies. So here is a lot of meat on the bones. I'm going to go through this pretty quick, but going through the books, because I reread Talk Like Ted, I re-listened to some of my interviews with Roberto as I was putting this presentation together. And I would say there were dozens of concepts and strategies. And I tried to bring it down to let's have 2 categories. How are we going to amplify our humanity? And how are we going to create that wow? Because that wow is what I founded Mortgage Coach on. And that wow is where, there's a lot of leverage and value. So when it comes to extreme or amplify your humanity, it's about your authenticity, being yourself. It's about telling stories, having conversations, and making people laugh a few times. That's hard to do on a webinar. I'm not even going to try to make you guys laugh in today's conversation, but I always think about hey, I'm doing live presentations. I'm not Mr. Pre-recorded joke guy, and I've got jokes that I tell, but I gauge how I think I performed at presentations based off how much engagement I had, how many questions I have, and how many times I make people laugh. So So think about those concepts. When it comes to the wow, teaching something they hadn't considered or I hadn't considered. Show something I'll always remember, deliver a multi-sensory experience, and then, stick to this 18-minute rule. Now, this I pulled from Talk Like TED, but whatever presentation you're giving, time matters, and if you're doing a Facebook video, time matters, if it's a YouTube video, time matters. So whatever the format is, that number can change. But the concept I want to make is you're not going to create a wow if you don't deliver, the right message in the right time. So one thing I want you guys to really, really remember, I learned this acronym from Nancy Duarte, and she calls them STAR moments, STAR, something they will always remember. And she, like when I got trained by her and I went to her concept, she would break down where you would storyboard your presentation, whether it was 3 minutes, 18 minutes, I'm doing a 1-hour keynote. You would use sticky pads and you would kind of play out the play within sticky notes. And then you would think of yourself like, what are the star moments of this presentation? What are the things I want people to remember? And so that really changed, for me, how I present, how I talk to people, how many star moments I try to create within a presentation. And, this is another key stat. The most successful presenters are creating things that you remember, engaging moments every 6 minutes. And people that struggle, sometimes they don't have any things that you remember, any engaging moments, and they're doing it literally 2 to 3 times less. So hallmark of a key presentation, just write this down, guys. Hopefully this is one thing you'll remember from today's presentation. It was one of my goals is this acronym called STAR, S-T-A-R, something they'll always remember, and you'll start being more intentional, whether it's a borrower conversation, a realtor conversation, you're presenting to a group, you're creating a Facebook video. Like, ask yourself, what's something I want people to remember? And how many of those star moments that I create within my presentation? Any questions on that, Michelle?
I love that. I love the star moment. I've got it written down.
Right on. So when I did this interview with Carmine Gallo, and I don't know how much it was like, hey, I'm Mr. Mortgage Coach. And when he started talking about, create multi-sensory experiences, like, you're talking my love language, bro. That's going to really help drive mortgage coach adoption. So I'm sure that had part of it to do with it. But if you listen to this 9-minute quick hit, and we'll put a link down below. So whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this recording in YouTube, we'll make sure there's a link down below to the full interview with Carmine, but this 9-minute quick hit where he really made the case, and he talked about, like, this was Steve Jobs when he rolled out the iPad from stage. I don't know how many years ago it was. I know it wasn't 10 years ago. Let's just say it was 5 years ago. And you'll notice, he's sitting in a couch. He's consuming and using an iPad the way people wanted to. But they spent a lot of time just talking about the science of when you connect with people in a multi-sensory perspective. They hear you, they see you, they touch their mobile phones. It's all part of the experience. So, Michelle, anything you want to add or ask around that?
No, I mean, one of the things that you keep referencing, which is so true, is this mobile app, the touches that they're doing. We talk a lot about how many touches we have with our clients during the process to keep the energies positive. How many touches do you do where it's not overwhelming, and how many touches do you do where you've lost your client because they think it's too hard? There's an art to that, and sometimes you hold off on making a phone call to a client or sending them, an app. I mean, do you text them, do you email them, and do you leave them a message, or does that person just want to be texted? And it's hard for us because my clientele is older generation and some of the newer generation coming in, and the medium people like me, where we're attempting to use the new social media and the new technology, but we're not as adept at it as our younger generation. It's interesting.
No doubt. So just ask yourself, write this down. Am I creating a multi-sensory experience as I connect and as I communicate with people? And it's a huge opportunity to create that client for life. So now here's a key principle. I actually don't know where I learned this one, but this is something that, you know, before every big presentation I give, I do the TFD, which is think, feel, and do. And I always go through this. I use Evernote. I'm getting ready to do a big meeting, and I'm like, what do I want people to think? What do I want people to feel? And what do I want people to do? And the thing that, like, when I watch presentations, when I look at videos on Facebook, I so often see everybody really fail at the do. You know, you tell people things, and then you're like, give me a call, you know, and they're not going to call you. I just think there is so much work that could be done in the mortgage coach community in being more intentional about giving people in marketing. They call it a call to action, you know, but what do you want people to do? What are they likely to do given the conversation, given the channel, given the context of what's happening? There's everybody on this call, I have a feeling that you could vastly improve the effectiveness of your presentations if you put more strategic thought in the do. And then I also think, when I first heard this, when I first started working on it, I realized that almost every presentation I've ever given, I focus on think and do. And I totally was missing the boat on what do I want people to feel, you know? And so when I, you know, got clear on this, and it was probably 5 years ago, maybe it was 3 years ago. And I just started getting really clear. What do people think? What do I want people to feel? And what do I want people to do, you know, after my presentation, during my presentation? So that's a pro tip for me. That's something, just know, just about every time I give a presentation, I have put, sometimes it's 30 seconds worth of thought into this. Sometimes it's 20 minutes worth of thought into this. Most of the time we're talking about a couple minutes. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to give this presentation. What's the think, feel, do? So recommended process for everybody. Michelle, any questions, any comments on that one?
No, I think that's brilliant.
Cool. Now this one, I know where I found it. And Roberto Monaco, you know, if you are watching this presentation, I'm giving you credit, brother. Although I did abbreviate it, you know, I learned this from Roberto. I don't think he used these acronyms. And actually, Roberto taught me that your opening matters. You know, like, I even went back when I was presenting this and I was thinking about how I'm opening this conversation. I decided to open it with a little bit more color around the backstory of Mortgage Coach. You know, that wow. You know, that was a principle of Mortgage Coach. I added that because I wanted the opening to just create a little bit more why around my passion. But I know that everyone in the mortgage industry, when it comes to opening a presentation, there's always a lot of room for improvement, a lot of intentionality that can be done. Most presentations consist of stories and strategies, or stories or strategies. And I learned that from Roberto. That was the formula. It's like, you got this opening, you have these stories and strategies. But here was the thing that I totally missed, and Roberto taught me, is that sometimes how you pre-frame, not sometimes, almost all the time, how you pre-frame the story or the strategy that you're going to share with someone is more important than the strategy or the story itself. So that opening, pre-frame, tell a story or strategy, essential to awesome presentations. Now in Roberto's framework, there's the close at the end, but there's pre-framing the close. And Roberto, I left that out because I just think only you could teach that, and it's kind of next level stuff, and it complexifies this. I figured, like, hey, if I could just get people to be more thoughtful about, hey, how do I open my presentations? If I could get them to think everything is about stories and strategies, if I can get them to pre-frame those stories and strategies, have a close, this presentation would be a win. So Roberto, that's why I left out the pre-frame of the close. But, you know, hopefully something you'll always remember is pre-framing your story and your strategy within a presentation is often, most of the time, more important than the story or strategy itself. Michelle, any questions or comments around that?
No, I mean, yes, that's absolutely important. How you pre-frame everything and how you tell your story almost dictates how the loan's going to go and how your conversation with the client's going to go. I think that's incredible. I love that.
Cool. If anybody has questions or comments, please comment down below in Facebook. Michelle, interrupt me. I think we're going to get through this content and have time for some Q&A and doing the typical mastermind that we do. I'm gonna cover what I just call, strategies now. Like what I talked about were principles. Let's get into really, actually I just realized I have to update some of this. But the number one strategy in mortgage coach land is the total cost analysis. So the total cost analysis, it really is nothing more than a strategy within the context of giving presentations, at the point of sale with a borrower. This is, from my perspective, the expected experience. This is the commodity experience. This is, when you think about what you're delivering, when you deliver a fee worksheet, it's nothing more than price. Let's face it, this is the opening. Like most loan officers, when they open with a borrower, it's, hey, I can close your loan faster and easier than everyone. And they say a few more things, and then they give this. That is how 90+% of the presentations in America happen when it has to do with the borrower. And now when you think about mortgage coach, think of this as the opening. My advice helps you build wealth with real estate by making smarter mortgage decisions. I manage your mortgage over time, making sure that you're always achieving great goals. So I really ask the community, what is your opening? Is your opening more like this, or is your opening more like that? And this right now we're getting into the borrower conversation. And then you have your opening, and I always talk about pre-framing the total cost analysis, because then you give the actual TCA. And Michelle, real quick, how do you pre-frame the total cost analysis?
I've always said that I'm sending you a link to a video that's going to change your life. I said it's worth the 3-minute watch, and it's always life-changing. Every thing that I use in my email templates or anything is, don't forget to watch this. We're using the Wow World now. It's going to wow you. But it's so important for them to look at. And as I'm getting more adept with this program, there's so much more that I didn't know I could do. So I'm excited to be continuing to learn on this program.
So real quick, just 15 seconds, because you cut out on the internet, and I just want your 15 seconds pre-frame, because I want to make a point real quick here. So 15 seconds, say that one more time, your pre-frame. You have an opening, you give them this, how do you pre-frame it?
I'm about to send you a video that I'm going to call you back on. I need you to spend 3 minutes. It's going to change your life and your financial goal, or it's going to change your family's financial goals. Let me know when a good time is for us to review the program together, and then I go live with them.
Got it. So think about it, guys. If she would have just said this, not pre-framed it, like just, hey, I do this, and that, and the other thing, and then send them a link. Or if she would have pre-framed it with, oh, and I'm going to send you some mortgage links, if you want, check it out. Like if she didn't have a great opening, it's going to impact her presentation. If she didn't pre-frame this before they got it, one, they may not click on it, so they may not get her presentation. And two, did you hear that? I need you to watch this 3 minutes. It's going to be an amazing video. It could change your life. Whoa, that's pre-framing. Best loan officers do this. They have a powerful opening, they have a powerful pre-frame, and then they deliver a powerful presentation. So let's play average LO. Not a power opening. I'm going to send you your rates, your fees, and your closing costs. Not a powerful presentation. Notice that. Also notice in Michelle's call to action, say that one more time, when it was coming, like the do, what was the do?
to do was, you need to watch this video it's a 3-minute video that's going to change your life.
Love it. So guys, hopefully you're starting to see kind of some of these principles play out. Obviously, I'm doing borrower, I'm doing mortgage coach. There is more to a great borrower presentation than that. Couple key concepts to that are tailor, teach, and control. And so tailor, teach, control means ask great questions, teach them things that they did not already know, and control the conversation, you know? And I call that leadership, just showing up as a leader, so important. So now another thing that is super important to amazing presentations is just your passion. And if anybody listened to the last 20 minutes of yesterday's call, or not yesterday, last Friday's call with Jeremy Forcier, you know, the guy is just incredibly passionate. I mean, really passionate about the mortgage business. When he shows up with a realtor, he's super fired up. When he shows up with a borrower, he's super fired up. I can assure you, if he did not have a work why that pumped him up, it was personal. You'll notice it's documented. In a minute, I'll show you his work why. You know, he wrote it down. It's in his office. But it's to impact and improve the lives of others through responsible ownership, because good people deserve good advice. And because he has such an amazing work why, he's passionate. And notice the word advice. Good people deliver good advice. That's why he uses Mortgage Coach to deliver his presentation. Kelly Zitlow, you know, this is her work why. My mission is to deliver an honest, well-communicated, knowledge-based lending experience. She can say that like the Pledge of Allegiance. She says that multiple times a day. That is part of her opening. That's part of why she has so much energy and confidence. And that's what drives her powerful presentation. Michelle, any comments, questions around, you know, work-wise, and just getting clear on that, and also making that part of your opening?
You should, if you don't know your why, go back and do that this week, and that would be your #1 homework assignment. The one thing that when I went into coaching, the first thing my coach asked me was, why do people use you? I couldn't answer the question. So if you can't answer that question with confidence and clarity, go do it this weekend. You can change. Just remember, come up with something. Mine is, we make a positive impact on our clients' lives with the best possible customer experience we can. We want to make your life remarkable, period. I have no problem saying that. Nobody on my team has a problem saying that. We know exactly why we're here and what we're doing. And we identify our clients and identify the ones that aren't our clients, and makes your life so much easier. It really does.
Michelle, will you do me a favor and write that down in comments below down in the Facebook? Michelle Towns, work why. Check it out down below. Get clear on your work why. Also, we'll put a link down below to the Mortgage Coach Why worksheet. It not only helps you get clear on your mortgage why, but your mortgage coach why. And when it comes to delivering presentations, if you do not have that documented, if you do not have that clear in your head, you will not show up with the same level of energy and clarity and value. So breaking down a few more key concepts around Mortgage Coach presentation secrets. Like, part of the science of the total cost analysis is that we show monthly cost, we show cost over 5 years, and we can show cost over 15. And you can adjust it. It could be 3 years and 10 years. It could be 7 years and 20 years. But that is part of the science of an amazing borrower experience, to show them cost over different periods of time. Now, why is that so important? One is, if one of the tenets of a great presentation is showing people something they didn't know, check. People don't know what loans cost over different periods of time. That's not intuitive knowledge. That's a new concept. Check. People are attracted to extreme transparency. Most lenders and loan officers don't show the cost over different periods of time. So check. And it's something that becomes memorable. When people see that, they're like, whoa, I never thought of that. And it becomes memorable. So that's part of the magic of a total cost analysis, is showing people the cost over different periods of time. Now, this is obviously a mortgage coach TCA concept. We built it, we automate it with our technology, but you can take this concept around anything because, you know, if you read Talk Like TED, one of the most powerful concepts within every TED Talk is novelty. You know, oh, I've never heard that before. I've never thought of it like that. Like if you look at all the TED Talk, the people who are speaking are incredibly passionate. They're mission driven. They're experts around their content. And they've got a novel idea or a novel way in which they take it. So this is part of the novelty concept, and it's key to your borrower conversations. Showing them with graphs and charts over time. You know, we could just talk and talk and talk. That pictures tell 1,000 words. Putting things in graphics, showing things over time. It's part of the key concept of a great borrower presentation. Leveraging mobile devices, using video every chance you get. Again, amplify your humanity. And then another key concept, and Michelle, I don't know how often you do this, but within the total cost analysis, show people how they can build wealth faster by either prepaying their mortgage and paying less interest, or asset accumulation and build wealth faster. Is that a strategy you implement very often within a TCA, Michelle?
Well, I just started since I just figured out how to do that on our 3 calls ago. Remember, I had no idea how to do that. So I was using a different program to show them that. And now I'm super excited that I'm able to show that on my presentation. So what I'm doing, like, for instance, I have one right now where we're giving them a different cost analysis. So I give them that cost analysis. And then on the next one, when I get them live, I go, okay, let me show you now if you took that same $200 or $312 savings and applied it to your principal, take a look at your total cost analysis now and look at how fast you pay off your debt and versus your current loan. So that's kind of my call to action to get them back to me, because I want to show them, let me show you not only how you can save $312 a month, but how you can pay off your mortgage in 21 years.
Exactly. And that, again, it's novel. It's a star moment. It's something they will always remember. And specific numbers, exact numbers matter. So let's kind of review some concepts, some strategies, winning with borrowers. I think, you know, within the things that I've shared within the Mortgage Coach platform, providing things people always remember, like cost over time, prepayment strategies, making a picture, teaching things that they never considered, and multi-sensory experience. That's what Mortgage Coach brings to whether it's an in-office meeting, you know, they're coming into your office and you're delivering all of those concepts, whether, you know, it's a first-time home buyer in a Pete's coffee shop, reviewing your advice and education, whether you're meeting with a client in a coffee shop, multi-sensory experience, things they hadn't thought, all the different places you meet borrowers, you touch borrowers. So, Michelle, what are some other key concepts? Because again, you kill it when it comes to the borrower conversation, but I'd love to hear, you know, it doesn't have to be Mortgage Coach related. It could just be like, this is a key concept or a strategy within my borrower experience, and then we'll close out with realtor experiences.
Yeah. So I'm using my chief from last week and coming up with some great ideas. So we really talk a lot about, you know, everybody is focused so much on that interest rate, right? And we talk a lot about, let's talk about overall wealth. We really are pushing people to get off that interest rate back into wealth, which is why we use total cost analysis, or we do sometimes use a little bit of MBS highway as well for that. So we'll use both of those in conjunction with each other to give them the tools that the client needs. I don't send out a loan or a fee sheet anymore. If I'm doing a fee sheet, it's once we've actually gone to contract or whatever, and then we're tidying up the final numbers before the disclosures go out. I'll send them a fee sheet and say, does everything look okay? Because this is what's going out in your disclosures. Because by that time we've had escrow and title fees. We just don't like any surprises. We always go over the closing statements with the clients before they get to the signing table. That's another thing I don't know if a lot of people do. I hate surprises. I'm that Discover card commercial girl. You know, it's like no surprises. And I tell all my clients that I don't like surprises. And when I give you when your estimate goes out, you're bound by that with me. If something changes, I'm going to make it right. I stand behind my word. I do what I say and I say what I do. I use all of these tools. You will very rarely see me send out a fee worksheet on anything, only because it just doesn't show enough for the client to understand, if that makes sense.
Makes total sense. So let's talk about yeah, no, you killed it. I wanted you to add a little color to that. So let's talk about winning with realtors. So first and foremost, I think, and I'm going to add the slide when I give this keynote next week, but Jeremy Forcier's 5 questions ask every realtors are just, not only are those 5 great questions, but regardless of what the questions are, the more tailored the presentation, the better. Whether you're meeting with one realtor, whether you're meeting with a room of realtors, whatever you're saying, whatever you're doing, it needs to be tailored, and you need to present in the channel that matters to them. So if it's one-on-one, ask some great questions. You know, what's most important to you? You know, what are you doing that's working right now? What is your biggest challenge right now? What do you dislike most about the mortgage experience? Not the loan officer you're working with, but find out where they're at and then present. If you're meeting with a group, try to do some pre-work and find out, you know, the group that you're meeting with, what's working best, what's their biggest challenge, and, you know, what do they like least about mortgages? And then when you give your presentation, show them you know them. So I think when meeting with realtors, homework and understanding what they want and how they want it matters. This is a picture I love. This is our very own Jen Duplessis. She's meeting with a realtor. She did not know what channel of communication this realtor wanted, didn't know how mobile savvy they were. So she's got paper and mobile. She's ready to go with the presentation around the channel that matters most with that client. So you know, to me, the modern mortgage experience is not only technology, it's the channel that family wants. You know, heck, there's a lot of families where within the same family member, one family member will want mobile, one family member will want it in writing, one family member will be consuming the content in your presentation on their laptop. You know, there can be 3 or 4 different channels within one family member. So what you deliver, how you deliver it matters. I do recommend for all mortgage professionals that you either have an iPad or you use technology within the conversations that you have with realtors. Even if every realtor you have doesn't care about technology, most people do. And remember, if you buy this concept that the loan officer with the most digital friends wins, you want to get them into that multi-sensory experience. You want to show how you're different and how you use technology is different. You know, in an open house, we know that the digital open house, or Nicole Solari calls them the paperless open house, we know that that generates more leads. So you've got to integrate technology. You've got to integrate that multi-sensory experience into your presentations. Big events. This is a picture of a Dave Ramsey event. Churchill, one of our great partners and clients, you know, they were very strategic and very thoughtful around getting people into that digital friend. You know, presentation on stage like this. If you want to come and ask questions, we're driving them into that digital relationship, and we've got our apps, our tools to educate because it's different, it's unique. When it comes to winning presentations on social media, you know, I mean, I know few that are doing a better job than Dan Keller. There are a lot of great loan officers, great mortgage professionals in the mortgage coach community that are killing it with social media presentations. I showcase this one. I'll put a link down below to it. If you're watching this and there's another, you know, great social media presentation, you know, around using social to present, please share it in the link down below. But I highly recommend you check that out. Also, I interviewed, hang on, where did I go? Oh, Bill Gaylord. So Bill Gaylord, I interviewed a couple days ago. I'm going to put a link down below to that interview. And Bill is just killing it on social media. He's a guest on the American Dream TV show, so he is the Las Vegas partner. And we did about a 40-minute interview where he shared all the different types of videos that he's doing, all the different ways that he's telling stories, he's delivering presentations on media. So I have kind of hit the point where I've got a lot more slides, but I really want to open it up to Q&A. Michelle, do we have any questions in Facebook yet?
Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to be monitoring Facebook. I was monitoring the chat.
I'm going to go to
have not
Facebook.
seen it. Let me get onto Facebook. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm going to go there too.
I was monitoring the chat. Sorry about that. But I do want to say one thing, Dave, is on the getting the realtors on the mortgage coach. One of the things when I first walk into my presentations, I ask, instead of telling everybody to take their cell phones away, I ask everybody to get their cell phones out, and I ask them to go to their app store and download the mortgage coach application, because I have a presentation I want to show them on their phone, so I can show them what we show their clients. So I try to drive them to all download at the same time, and I try to do my presentation from my phone, so that, because I want them to have this app on their phone.
Love that. Love that. No, great strategy. So by the way, guys, I am looking at our Facebook now, and we're going to end this call in about 4 minutes, because I've got to jump on another call at 10 o'clock. But if you have questions, post them. I see a nice shout out from Corby, just, talking about what a true professional you are, Michelle. Love that, but I don't have specific questions. Let us know if you have questions. And remember, Michelle, if you could post your work why down below in the Facebook group. So why don't we do this? Let's close the call around 2 things.
We're supposed to close the call on spring home buying.
Oh, wow. I did not say that word, did I?
I know.
Sorry, Don.
I supposed to say it 3 times. Wait, spring home buying. One more time.
Yeah.
Spring home buying. So I don't get in trouble.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. So I think the point with that, and one of the messages we're trying to bring to the mortgage coach community right now, is it's April of 2019. And I don't know exactly what percentage of, loans take place during spring home buying season, but it's a big percent. It's more than 50% of your production will take place over the course of 3 to 4 months. So a very large percentage of your success is happening between now and summer vacation, guys. So it's more important than ever that you're delivering your best presentation during spring home buying season. And that is what I'm going to close the call around. It's also really important that you're working hard. You're working hard and you're working smart. And, last week's call with Jeremy, he did 2 things that I loved. He shared his work why he's so passionate, how he's so passionate. And so please take the time to write down, get clear on your work why. But this is what I really want to drive it around. You got 3 choices to make every week. And Jeremy crushed it with this. And I think it has to do with not only the amount of activity you take. So Jeremy talked about, are you going to make your calls, in his case, 30 plus calls a day? Are you going to fail? Are you going to do half of your activity and then have excuses for the other half? Or are you going to completely crush it? And so there's 2 things. That's why we're doing this contest this month, the Mortgage Coach 30-10 contest. You've got to make at least 150 calls a week, do at least 10 TCAs to play the game. But that's the activity. The reason we have the 10 TCAs, that's the quality of your presentation. So I just push everybody, if you want to have a lot of success in the first half of this year, if you want to make the most of spring home buying season, get focused on the quantity and the quality of what you're doing. So Michelle, in the last minute of the call, as we close this out, think of yourself as a sales leader, sales manager of the mortgage coach community. What type of activity do people need to be doing on a weekly basis to kill it?
You should be doing at least 5 to 7 TCAs, at least. I mean, and if you're not doing them or you don't have the business to do them, practice on them because you want to be good at it. You should be reaching out to your past clients with a annual review, or right now even a 6-month review, because everybody 6 months ago, the rates are lower. Take a look at it. Even if it doesn't make sense for them to refinance, send it to them anyway and show them that you're looking out for them. We show the analysis and we say, hey, here's the break-even point. If it's under 36 months, it might be a great idea. If it's not under 36 months, we're going to wait and we're going to watch for you. But we want to remind you that we told you and made a commitment to you that we would stay in touch and in front of you. That's what you guys are doing. And don't forget to make sure your realtors are on your TCAs. And, we are in spring buying season right now. It is, I was talking to some people in my office, and we are literally, putting in 10 to 12 hour days right now. And we're in our season, and this is what it's going to be like until June or July. And remember, we're going to be able to hibernate in the wintertime a little bit. We're going to take our time off, but right now is the time to be in front of your client base, in front of your realtors, also making sure to have a little bit of balance and, making sure you at least take, 24 hours full completely off your technology.
Love it, guys. So thanks for showing up. Hopefully you got value from today's call. If you got value, give us a like in the channel that you're watching it. This will be in our YouTube channel within an hour or two. It's live in our Facebook group. Remember, we haven't figured out exactly what we're going to do and how we're going to manage Zoom, but this content will be streamed, and the primary place to view it will be our Facebook group. So have a great weekend, everybody, and thanks for making time for the Mortgage Coach community. Thanks, Michelle.
Bye, everybody. See you later, Dave.